For almost 50 years now, we have been captivated by this whisper from the cosmos. It was this incredibly powerful but super brief radio signal from deep space that we heard just once, and then silence. It's the ultimate cosmic misconnection, a story that starts not with some huge explosion, but with a single, simple, astonished word.
And that's the word, right there. Wow. Just scrawled in red pen on a piece of computer paper. It really gets to the heart of this whole mystery, doesn't it? This wasn't some calculated scientific statement. It was a purely human reaction of total shock and awe from the astronomer who found it, Jerry Amon. It's the kind of moment that just changes everything.
So to really appreciate this, we've got to go back. Picture it. It's 1977. There are no fancy mission control rooms with scientists glued to screens 24/7. What we have is this radio telescope in Ohio called the Big Ear. It was a pretty underfunded project run mostly by volunteers, dedicated to one of the biggest questions out there, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI.
Now, the whole search had a pretty cool logic to it. Way back in 1959, scientists figured, hey, if another civilization wants to get our attention, they'd probably use the frequency of hydrogen, right? It's the most common thing in the entire universe. So fast forward to August 15th, 1977. At just past 11 at night, the Big Ear picks up a signal that is a dead ringer. But here's the kicker. Nobody was there to hear it. It was just ink on paper, recorded by a machine, just waiting, until 4 days later when a volunteer named Jerry Amon started going through the data.
And this is what he saw. This totally cryptic string of letters and numbers, 6EQJ5. Now that's not the message itself. It's actually a code for the signal's intensity, how loud it was compared to the quiet hum of deep space. And as Jerry's eyes scanned these endless columns of data, this one sequence just leaped off the page. He grabbed a red pen, drew a circle around it, and wrote that one now famous word, wow.
So what was it about that little code that was so absolutely mind-blowing? What did 6EQJ5 actually tell scientists that made it to this day the best candidate we have for an alien signal? Let's break it down.
Okay, first, how long it lasted. The signal was audible for exactly 72 seconds, and that number is so important. Why? Because that was the precise amount of time it would take something out in deep space to drift through the Big Ear's very narrow field of view as our planet turned. Right away, that told them this wasn't from Earth. It wasn't a satellite or some secret plane. This thing was coming from the cosmos.
Second, the frequency. It was sitting at almost exactly 1420 megahertz, what we call the hydrogen line. This is a special, protected slice of the radio dial that's super quiet. Scientists have called it the cosmic water cooler for decades, the one spot where you'd expect everyone in the galaxy to tune in if they wanted to chat. And this signal, it was right on the money.
And then there was the power. I mean, this thing was loud. At its peak, that's the letter U in the code, the signal was more than 30 times stronger than the background noise of space. This was not some faint little blip you could just ignore. No way. This was a clear, powerful shout coming from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius.
And here's maybe the biggest tell of all. It was narrowband. So think of it this way. Most things in space that make radio waves, like stars, are messy. They're like cosmic static, spread out all over the dial. But the WOW signal was packed into a tiny, specific sliver of the spectrum. That's a huge hallmark of technology. It looked artificial.
Okay, so you've got all these clues pointing to something absolutely extraordinary. As you can imagine, the investigation kicked into high gear. Scientists had to look at every single possibility, from the most thrilling to the most boring, to try and figure out what in the world they had just overheard.
And let's be honest, the first place everyone's mind went was the most exciting one. Could this finally be it, the moment humanity's been waiting for? A real, deliberate message from another intelligent civilization? I mean, the profile was just perfect. The case for it being ET was really, really strong. It checked all the boxes. But, and this is a huge but, there were some major problems. See, in SETI, for a signal to be confirmed, it has to repeat. And even after more than 50 different searches over the years, pointing our telescopes at that same patch of sky, nothing. The WOW signal was a one and done. Even worse, the Big Ear telescope had two receivers, kind of like two ears. A real signal from space should have been seen by the first one, and then about 3 minutes later by the second one. The WOW signal only showed up in one.
So, okay, if it probably wasn't aliens, then what? Could it have been some freak natural event, something we've never seen before that just happened to perfectly fake an artificial signal?
Well, a few theories got tossed around. Someone suggested a passing comet releasing a cloud of hydrogen gas, but that was pretty much dismissed. The signal would have been way too weak. Same thing with a meteor burning up in the atmosphere. The physics just don't line up. Right now, the most plausible natural idea is something called an astrophysical maser. It's a bit complex, but basically, imagine a super powerful star having a flare that energizes a nearby gas cloud, causing it to shoot out a brief, intense, laser-like pulse of radio waves right in our direction. It's rare, but possible.
And yet, even with a clever theory like that, the WOW signal is still one of the greatest unsolved cases in astronomy. Decades of work, and we're still not totally sure what it was. So why? Why is this one 72-second blip still such a powerful and enduring enigma?
Well, it really all comes down to a few key things. The fact that it never repeated is the biggest roadblock. It makes it almost impossible to study. That whole twin beam problem is a major technical issue that no one has a great answer for. And at the end of the day, no single explanation, not aliens, not comets, not anything, fits all the facts perfectly. And so it just sits there. Still the strongest, most tantalizing hint of an alien technosignature we have ever detected.
It's like we picked up the phone to an unknown number from across the galaxy. We heard a crystal clear voice for just a moment, and then the line went dead, forever. And we're just left here wondering what it all meant. Was it a deliberate hello from someone else out there? Was it a spectacular one-in-a-trillion natural glitch? Or was it a goodbye? A message in a bottle from a world we'll never know, that just happened to wash up on our cosmic shore for 72 brief, incredible seconds. Honestly, the mystery is what makes it so amazing.